Welcome back to Tech Surge News, where we bring you the latest in the world of science and technology. Just 2 years ago, the documentary Planet of Humans smacked renewables in the face. One responded, Ozzy Zenner, remarked of renewables and recycling. I quote, "You would have been better off just burning the fossil fuels to begin with." End quote. Many innovations in history have been refuted and labeled as failures before going on to impact the world. Let's look at why humans like to dislike things, as well as 5 examples of technological developments that prove the critics incorrect. Solar panels, wind turbines, battery storage, electric vehicles, you name it, there's a continual stream of doubt and debunking. Tesla has been condemned to failure since its inception. Every time a light bulb goes off in the mind of an innovator, many others want to turn it off. Demanding scientific evidence is reasonable, but the excess of skepticism can be dangerous. There are 5 excellent instances from the history of technology, but first, what motivates all of these? There is, after all, such a thing as a creativity dilemma. We appreciate innovative ideas, but we're also afraid of them. That was the conclusion of a study done by the University of Pennsylvania on more than 200 participants in 2010. Researchers discovered that creative ideas create an uneasy feeling in most people. Furthermore, objective data supporting a novel notion was insufficient to avoid rejection from the majority of the study's participants. Does this sound familiar? So, where is this coming from? Based on the study, scientists discovered an unconscious bias that caused people to reject unique and high-quality products. But researchers discovered something else intriguing. We may be unaware of our antagonistic reaction towards such fresh ideas, and this is diminishing our ability to recognize them. I'm not sure about you, but that makes me uneasy. Maintaining a healthy mix of skepticism and open-mindedness should be easy, but it may be more difficult than you think. However, the major conclusion is that being a skeptic can cause us to dismiss something that could be valuable. That is not only science telling us. History does as well. Let's take a look at 5 inventions that were once regarded as a fraud when they first came out. One of the most significant discoveries of the 20th century was the creation of alternating current or AC power systems. While alternating current had been established prior to his time, Nikola Tesla perfected it and made it more viable. His artistic talent began while he was still a student at Joanneum Polytechnic School in Graz, Austria. When he saw a dynamo converting alternating current to direct current, the Serbian-American inventor told his teacher that he could modify the mechanism to eliminate the commutator. While Tesla's instructor laughed, Nikola was already planning what would become his famous polyphase induction motor in 1887. Tesla's system used multiple ACs to create a magnetic field rather than a commutator to reverse the current direction. This generated a current, which then turned the motor. His teacher was not the only one who questioned his ideas. He was frequently mocked by fervent critics on behalf of his closest rival, Thomas Edison, who had a personal vendetta against Tesla. I quote, "Fooling around with alternating current is just a waste of time," thought the father of direct current. "Nobody will ever use it." End quote. Edison was clearly biased. Not just unconsciously, but that was only the beginning of the war of currents. Aside from mocking his rival's intuition, Edison heightened the tension by supporting public demonstrations to smear AC. He tried to scare people by portraying AC as threatening as an electric chair. Tesla was not his only target. Edison, accused Westinghouse, the industrialist who invented the alternating current system, with attempted murder. I quote, "Westinghouse will kill a customer within 6 months of installing any size system." End quote. Edison also took a video of an animal being electrocuted in a public zoo to demonstrate the dangers of alternating current. Despite the fierce opposition, AC prevailed in the heated battle. The ability of the AC system to convert power voltage and carry it over long distances with minimal waste paved the way for the electrification of homes and structures all over the world. Now, on to the second invention. Everything is difficult at first, right? Get it? Remember the Wright brothers? After a few unsuccessful trials, the pioneer of aircrafts, Wilbur Wright, discredited himself in 1901, declaring, I quote, "Man will not fly for 50 years." End quote. Encouraged by those words, the director of the U.S. Naval Observatory chimed in, declaring, I quote, "Flight by machines heavier than air is unrealistic and insignificant, if not utterly impossible." End quote. However, Wright disproved his own words and everyone else's just 2 years later when flying the world's first heavier-than-air craft in Kitty Hawk in North Carolina. However, the flying duo had to contend with other skeptics. A year after their historic flight, the public was still skeptical of their invention, and Scientific American magazine demanded more concrete proof. This lack of trust in airplanes was also fueled by credible scientists. Professor Newcomb, for example, published an article just 2 months prior to the Wright brothers' flight. The scientist contended that even if someone managed to fly, stopping would be impossible without crashing. Clearly, he was incorrect, but it was understandable given the knowledge about physics at that time. William H. Pickering, a well-known astronomer who worked at the Harvard College Observatory, was one of the last to jump on the anti-flying bandwagon, stating, I quote, "It is clear that with our present devices, there is no chance of aircraft competing for racing speed with our land vehicles." End quote. However, things quickly changed with the start of World War I, when governments began spending money on air forces. The conflict then paved the way for the growth of air travel. In 2019, the world's airlines flew 38.9 million passengers. Could you imagine being unable to fly today? Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, a Russian scientist, imagined that humans could explore space using rockets at the turn of the 20th century. As you might expect, his far-sighted theories elicited a lot of laughter. Skeptics had plenty of room to dismiss Tsiolkovsky's idea, just as Lee D. Forrest did in 1920. I quote, "I am bold enough to say that such a man-made voyage will never occur regardless of all future advances," end quote, the American inventor said of space travel. The New York Times even stated, "A rocket will never be able to leave the Earth's atmosphere." Skeptics' prediction began to crumble when the Nazis launched the first long-distance rockets over London during World War II, paving the way for an industrial battle between the United States and the Soviet Union. Then came Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth in 1957. Sputnik was a critical milestone that enabled Yuri Gagarin to become the first human to travel into space in 1961. A few years later, propelled by Cold War rivalry, the United States retaliated by landing the Apollo 11 lunar module on the moon. Despite the fact that 600 million people watched it live, many thought it was a sort of Truman Show, with conspiracy theories claiming that the video clip was a NASA-produced film directed by Stanley Kubrick. Someone even self-published a book titled "We Never Went to the Moon" in 1976, claiming to have secret government documents to back up his catchy title. While the book's sales did not soar, the author spread fake news throughout the media. Despite the fact that 20% of Americans still believe the 1969 landing was a government sham, space exploration continued. The United States, Russia, and China have all had operational space stations. Furthermore, 16 countries have been working together to develop the International Space Station. In addition, companies such as SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic are working to reduce the cost of flights and to promote space exploration. When you can finally go to space, it will be difficult to claim that space travel is a hoax. Alan Turing is widely regarded as the father of computing machines, having broken the Enigma code during the World War II. Turing created the Automatic Computing Engine, or ACE, while working for the UK National Physical Laboratory in 1946. This was the first electronic computer capable of storing programs. While Turing was just starting the digital computer era, someone thought PCs had gone into a dormant state in 1949. I quote, "It appears that we have reached the limits of what is possible with computer technology," end quote, said computer scientist John von Neumann. Not only has computer power exceeded von Neumann's conservative limit, but computer processing speed has increased exponentially over the last 40 years based on Moore's law. But von Neumann wasn't the only one who got his predictions wrong. In 1977, Ken Olsen, the founder of the computer company Digital Equipment Corp., stated, "There is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home." Ironically, that same year, Steve Jobs released the Apple II, whose sales skyrocketed by the end of the 1970s. 80% of Americans have proven Olsen wrong by 2012. During a news conference in 1973, Motorola engineer Martin Cooper unveiled the first portable phone prototype. One reporter described the Motorola device as a television set and a wristwatch the day after it was unveiled to the public. Also, just 8 years later, Cooper himself stated, I quote, "Cellular phones will absolutely not replace local wire systems. Even if you project it beyond our lifetimes, it will never be affordable enough." End quote. He must have changed his mind by 2004, when mobile phones surpassed landlines in the United States. Also, there were plenty of iPhone skeptics in 2007. Some thought it was too expensive, while others questioned Steve Jobs' claims of futuristic features. I quote, "There's no chance that the iPhone will get any significant market share," end quote, said Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer at the time. 4 years after its launch, looks like 23% is a pretty good market share. According to a Bloomberg journalist, it is nothing more than a luxury ornament that will appeal to a few gadget freaks. The iPhone is less useful in terms of its impact on the industry. In 2018, Apple's flagship product became the best-selling smartphone in the world. The general public was not immune to the short-sighted observations. One man stated, "Apparently, none of you realize what a bad idea a touchscreen on a phone is. I see some pretty obvious and major issues here." Nobody realized adding a touchscreen to a phone was a bad idea until he said it. As a result, every smartphone now has one. So, what are our thoughts on this? The path of least resistance is one of balance. While an inquisitive mind aids innovators in refining their inventions, we must work hard to overcome our unconscious bias. Continue to be skeptical, but reasonable. But what are your thoughts? What innovations would you have included? That is all we have for today, and if you'd enjoy the video, why don't you give us a like and subscribe to Tech Surge News to hear the latest in the world of science and technology. Don't forget to hit the bell button below to get notifications on when we post next. Thank you for staying till the end of the video and hope you enjoyed. Tech Surge News signing out.